Hey Joe, you want to balance your car? It's only going to cost you $1,000. Okay?
Yeah, maybe.
Never done this before, but I watched a YouTube video, so now I know. Anyway, so this is Proform scales. We're going to put one of these under each tire, and we're going to make some adjustments, and you can follow along as we figure out how to do it. All right, so here we are under the car. What I did before I put the car up is, without the vehicle on here, I had these pads down, and I took the laser level and made them all the same elevation, just so we wouldn't be tweaking the frame before we did this measurement I'm going to show. So if we come back here, and I got the laser level going back there, if we take a measurement, we got 32 1/4, 32 1/4, pretty even up here. But if we come to the front and take a measurement, what the sway bar is going to see for leveling out the car, we got 37 1/2, and then we come over here and we got 35 7/8. So what that means is the frame is twisted, and if you took a sway bar kit and just bolted it up, there's going to be uneven pressure on the suspension. And so what we got to do before we balance our coilovers is unhook the sway bar so it's not putting a tweak into the whole equation. So on this, we have aftermarket coilovers. So here's our adjusters for the rear, and then our adjusters for the front on these coilovers here. And what we want to do is get it so the corners are equal. We don't want it to be unequal, because then the car will teeter. And so we'll start with that. All right, so forgot to mention that I did balance or check the levelness of the floor. Under the passenger front tire, there is a 60 thousandths piece of sheet metal. I checked it with the laser. So we're starting off with a level floor. And here is with the sway bar hooked up. And I will unhook it and compare just that part. All right, and there's the weight with the driver. So we're going to correct this issue also. This bolt is not a grade 8. We just lowered it and it bent. This is the RideTech setup where you have to buy their special hardware here. Even this bolt's bent, but we're going to correct all that. So we're going to unhook all this and reweigh it and see how much it was tweaking, because we were having about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch difference here just to get it hooked up, because the frame isn't perfectly straight.
This one here,
okay,
too.
Here's our weights without the sway bar hooked up. So we went from, on the front, 705, 680. Let me back up a little bit. So it changed by, what would you say, 25 pounds?
25 on that one.
So the sway bar, by not having the correct adjustable end links, the weight changed just by 20 pounds. Now we can do our corner balance. Okay, here we are sitting on the ground. The sway bar is pointing down quite a bit, 16 degrees. So we need to lengthen our end link connection. Alright, so we're undoing the tie rod, or the sway bar end links, and you can see that bolt is bent. That bent just from lowering it. If the end link was longer, I'm trying to film, if the end link was longer, it probably wouldn't have put such a bind on this and bent it. So we're just taking it off so we can weigh it and see how much bias it was putting on our tires. All right, here you can see the end links from RideTech are all bent up from just lowering the car. We didn't do anything crazy with it. And so it was sitting on the ground at 16 degrees down. We really want this to be level, so we're probably going to make longer end links. But already, let's move this up just to look and see what our dimension is. So here we are at 6 inches. We'll come over here. We're at 6.5. You see that? 6.5 inches. So already our frame is twisted 1/2 inch. So we're going to lower it back on the ground and see what the corner weights are just by removing the sway bar end links. Alright, what I'm doing here is leveling the sway bar and looking at our connection here. If we put that straight up and down, you can see that the end link needs to be connected to the A-arm. Looks like about 1.5 inches. I'll measure it, but that's part of the problem. It's at such an angle So that's going to be nice where you can have adjustable end links. So it was connected right here, which put it at a serious angle and bent it and all that. So we're going to make our own and go from there. Okay, we're using trash bags on top of our scales to let the suspension relax and settle to the proper position. When we come down, we just made one adjustment, see if we're going the right way. And there we go. Compared to that. Okay, and this is after one adjustment and the driver in it compared to that. So that was a half turn on the left front and the right rear. We relaxed it a little bit. Well, not to rag on RideTech, but I need to, because I need to show that the hardware bags that came with this kit came for two different applications of spindles. And our first problem we didn't know, because we didn't say, this hardware here that goes through, first time we put a bolt through that had a tapered nut, but when we put the car together, the rotor was hitting. So then we found the other hardware that the bolt head was tapered to fit in a recess. I actually seen another video, a guy was doing a sway bar adjustment modification, and his was put together the wrong way that we did too. So the directions are not descriptive enough of what hardware to use. And another issue we had was some of the hardware was missing, so we had to straighten that out. I actually went and bought the stuff that we needed. One was a custom pinch bolt that goes in here, Allen head. All right, so we're gonna make some adjustments. Now we're gonna tighten these up 2 turns, and same back in that corner, because we don't want to. We need to increase this corner and decrease this corner. Is that right? Yeah. I really don't know what I'm doing because this is our first time, so we're just going trial and error, but we are going in the right direction, so we'll just let you know how it works. Okay, just to show how long this takes, it's not a quick adjustment because these things are a pain in the butt. They give you some funky tools to use to go around and around. Huh, Joe? Isn't this fun?
Yeah. That's one right there.
All right, so we are doing all these measurements with the driver in the car, and this is where we're going, just making one adjustment at a time. Look how close that is with 2 people in here. What do you think? All right, here's our corner balance difference. Is what we started off with on the front tires, off by 164 and 202 on the back. And we made a total of 10 changes and ended up with this with the driver. It's 30 on the front and 33 on the back. So we split the difference because they started going in opposite directions. And this is without the driver. And on the right are the percentages. So I think it turned out pretty good. What do you think, Joe? You like it? Mm-hmm. Okay, here we are brainstorming. We've got grade 8 bolts, 6 inches long, some rod ends. I think if we bend that tab out, what do you think? Put it next to the tab?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's going to change it.
We're going to bend some brand new stuff. We think if we come here, see that angle? Oh yeah, this is a very special tool. This is actually Blue Point, Snap-on from about 30 years ago. We're going to take this here. I haven't been to the gym for a while, but let's see how it goes. Is that better? Will that work? Let's try that. Okay, got it. Okay, here we are designing some stuff. But don't show anybody. This is top secret. Don't show this to RideTech. Gotta document our engineering here. Alright, anybody see that? Let me get the angle right. We're down about an inch. And that one's set up right. So this is how far off this was preloading the springs. So we need to make this shorter. Alright, so our sway bar linkage is off by 7/8 to 1 inch. We're going to cut it 1 inch and give us some adjustability. We're going to cut the bolt 1 inch and thread it. and cut our spacer. I can't film and point. Okay, there you go. Okay, here's our setup we're using. We have grade 8 hardware, poly bushings, and what we're going to do is we're going to line up the hole with it sitting on the ground with no tension. Before we had it, it was off quite a bit because the frame's twisted. But we're going to adjust this right to the hole, adjust it right here, lock it down, and screw it in with no tension. That way the car is sitting balanced. So, yep. So this is a grade 8 bolt we're cutting down 1 inch. We're threading down, then cutting 1 inch. I'm going to cut the spacer. RideTech can chime in if they want, but I believe that their hardware was grade 1 or maybe a 3 all thread. You tell me. I think it's all thread. Nowhere near strong enough for suspension components, in my opinion. Right, here is our modified RideTech setup. There's plenty clearance. So you notice this spacer is 1 inch, 700 thousandths long. This side is 700. So there's a 1 inch difference from side to side, but that's because the frame has a little bit of twist in it. But the bar is zeroed out. There's no tension on it right now. And we're on flat level plane. And that's what you want. All right, we're gonna test this RideTech hardware. Let's see how easy this bends. All right, let's see. One-handed, look. That is not very strong.